Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm a family law attorney in Florida. I'm here today with my friend, Marquita.
Imagine.
Imagine. And Marquita actually became my friend because she was once and still is, unfortunately,
Yes.
um, a client of mine. And I've never done this before. I've never seen anybody else do this before. But we're going to talk today about her divorce case, and we're going to talk about everything that has happened after her divorce case,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yes.
Um, and I think that it's really important why, we pull back the curtain on stuff like this because a lot of times you only hear from the attorney, you only hear from their perspective, you don't hear what happened to get you to where you are today. You don't hear, what happened during the case from the client's perspective. You don't hear what was going through their minds, the things that they needed to, make decisions on, and how this really impacts them. Because at the end of the day, the client is the one that has to live with everything. They're the ones who have to, especially if there are kids involved, they're the ones that have to deal with the aftermath. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about her divorce, and we're going to talk about the multiple
Stupid
contempts.
shit. Yeah.
You're going to cuss?
Can we not?
I don't know. I guess we could.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think we should say like. So anyway, this is Marquita.
Hi. I'm
Okay.
Marquita.
And what do you do for work?
I'm a registered nurse.
How long have you been a registered nurse for?
10 years.
10 years.
Yes.
Okay. And right now you have, well, technically you have 4 kids.
Yes, I have 4.
And you have 3 that are still living at home.
Yes.
Your second oldest is about to graduate from high school.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
He's an adult now.
He's an adult. What are their ages?
One's going to be 21. One just turned 18. One's 9, and one's 8.
They are your kids that you had with your lovely ex-husband.
Yes.
Who, thank God, is now your ex-husband.
Yay. Yes.
And what led you to calling a divorce attorney?
Well, talk about pulling back a curtain.
Right.
So my ex-husband has cheated on me for years. And I was going to divorce him probably in 2022. I don't know. I'm just making that number up because I don't remember.
Didn't you file at one point
Yes.
for divorce? Yeah.
I filed for divorce on my own. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was because he got a girl pregnant, had a kid. I found out about it and I wasn't okay with it. So after all the cheating prior to that, I thought that was it. But at the time, my dad was terminally ill and was like, you should stay with him if he does the blah, blah, blah. So I still filed for the divorce. He just kept begging me, wanting to stay. And I stayed with him. And basically, nothing happened with that divorce. So then one day, I was working nights and he had 2 phones. One phone was supposedly his main phone, and the other phone was his out-of-state work number phone. So he left the out-of-state work phone at home. So I called him. I tell him, you left this phone here, but I'm nervous deep down because I know that I found out about all the cheating from looking in the phone. So I heard the phone ring. And I was in the room. I was taking something out. I look at the phone, and he has an Android phone. I have an iPhone, so I can see this girl live on the FaceTime. Like, so it's Google Duo, and I could see her, and the phone is like down here, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, why am I able to see this girl on his phone? So I was nervous because I knew what it was, but I didn't want to accept it. And when I went to accept the call, it hung up. And then she called again, but then hung up right away. And my best friend was like, girl, that is not a client. Like, nobody has a phone down here and it's a client. So I'm calling him, his regular phone. I'm like, who is this girl? This girl, this is that. And he is like, oh. And then he tells me, oh, she's just a friend, this and this and that. And the reason why I got an attorney was because one of my kids noticed that he was leaving in the middle of the night and saying he was going to a casino. And they told me about it, or my son told me about it. And I told him, I said, if you do anything that you've done from the past again, I'm going to divorce you for real, and I'm going to get an attorney. But when all that was happening, long story short, I was at work and I know that he had a kid with someone else, and something just was in me that like he had a kid with this girl. So I had asked him, is she pregnant? And he said she was, and that he should have told me about what they had going on. So I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work. And then I was talking to a therapist at the time, and she mentioned Sarah, but it was really Sarah's mom, and said, you're not going to be able to do this by yourself if you're really ready to let go. And I knew that this was the end of it. Like, I had to have more respect for myself. And I called Sarah, ranting, emotional, saying all the emotional things. And then when I met you, I was like, look at all these tattoos. That's what I need. And that's why I got an attorney. You.
Well, I'm glad it was the tattoos and not my knowledge of the law.
That too.
Okay.
Yeah, that first.
Which was first. So whenever you were working nights,
mm-hmm.
your husband was supposed to be staying home with the kids overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the bigger issues, was that you were being told by one of your kids that he was leaving to go to a casino, which we found out later was not a casino. And so, I mean, that was a really big issue. And, you know, describe a little bit about what makes your family dynamic with your kids different than what most people have.
Well, I don't have family support, and I have my youngest son has cerebral palsy. He is nonverbal, non-ambulatory. He needs full attention, just like every child, but he needs it more because he cannot provide for himself or do anything. And to leave children at home alone, when I chose to work nights to help him, not help him financially, but he has a business, and I was like, well, I'll just work nights so that way I can be home during the day to get my son off the bus and do all the things. And then all you have to do is make sure they're alive overnight. So with my son being special needs, to leave him in the middle of the night just because he sleeps through the night is crazy. So that's what makes my dynamic. It's just me and the kids, and was him.
Right. Mm-hmm. And leaving all of that on your other kids.
Yes, that is not their responsibility. I do not play that.
Right.
It is not, I mean, to each his own. People do what they do. That suits them. For me personally, I don't believe that children should be raising your children, I mean, their siblings, because of your irresponsibility. Now, I do depend on my sons now, but they're the last option. My one son gets my special needs son off the bus, but it's literally for 30 minutes because it's the gap between me getting home. Like, it is not something that I want my children to be responsible for, and shouldn't be if they have a father.
Right.
And they have somebody, you know?
So you hired me in October of 2023.
Yes.
And your divorce was finalized in July or June of 2024.
Yes.
Yeah, it was June of 2024.
Yes.
So procedurally speaking, that's not that long of a time for a divorce to be open. Normally, if it's uncontested and both parties are agreeing to everything, you're looking at about 90 days. If it's contested, technically it's supposed to be within 180 days. Well, we definitely don't adhere to those standards. So practically speaking, and from experience, October to June is not that long of a time.
Wow. I didn't realize that. It felt long as hell.
Well, that's because there was a lot of stuff that happened in your case that dragged it out.
Yes.
So let's start with how we got everything started. So when we initially filed, we filed your petition for dissolution of marriage. We alleged that the marriage was irretrievably broken, which is the only thing you need to allege in your divorce case in Florida. Um, and we had children issues, we had support issues, we had equitable distribution issues because we had the house that we needed to deal with, and the truck was a really big deal. And when you first came to me, you had talked about, I know he's got a bunch of debt. I know he's got a bunch of credit cards that I don't know about, that I'm not supposed to know about. And I was like, okay, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
But for right now, we just need to file the petition that has pretty basic allegations. They're general, just so the court knows what type of issues that they need to, rule over if we had to go to a trial at the end. And let's start with the house. So you guys bought the house while you were married.
Yes. The loan was originally to where I was primary because I'm the one with the steady job.
Correct. Yeah.
And so how we would do it is he would say it was linked to his account.
Yes. That's what you mean. That's what I mean. Yes. Like he had to click the button or set up the auto pay.
Yes.
For it to go through.
Yes.
And that was the thing because he was self-employed.
Yes.
And it is extremely difficult to nail down income for people that are self-employed because everything is a write-off. Oh, my phone's a write-off. Oh, my car's a write-off. Oh, those shoes that I bought are a write-off.
Even the house.
The house, if you are
business.
Right, if you are using it as an office space,
which he did.
Yeah. So that was one of the things too, because you needed that house. Like that was the house where the kids were growing up. I mean, it had the accommodations that you needed for your youngest. So that was pretty important. And I remember one of the things you said to me was, I want the house. And I was like, okay, well, it's going to be split up.
Yes, you did. She always was saying this stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, I was telling you the truth.
I know you were.
I was like, this house is going to be equitably divided. I don't know how it's going to look, but it can look a couple of different ways. Either it's going to be sold and you're going to split the proceeds of whatever the equity is from that sale, or you're going to need to buy him out. And you were like, I don't want to do that.
Well, because when we got the house, he put money towards the house initially. I'm not going to take that from him. But at the same time, I put a lot of money in the house too.
Yeah.
And I paid for all the furnitures. Like I put in more money, in my opinion, in that home. And he already has another family. So like what, I know you understand, but the law is the law. I learned.
You both had taken money that you had made while married and put it into marital property.
Yeah.
Therefore,
yeah.
Neither one of you was gonna,
Yeah.
Get out better off than the other, unless just a teaser. She got the house.
Yeah.
But so then there was the truck.
But I didn't originally want the truck.
You didn't originally want the truck, but you ended up needing the truck.
I wanted the truck because my son was turning 16 and wanted a car. Right. And obviously I was not in the space to buy one because of all this.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, this truck is in my name. So my other son can have this car. Because I don't care about the truck, honestly. It was, and it's easier for me to put my special needs son in with the wheelchair because that's what I would use it for.
Yes. And that was another thing that we had to come to Jesus meeting on, was the fact that it was in your name.
Yeah.
Didn't matter because you guys got it while you were married. So if something is in your name only and you are married, unless it is an account you opened up and it's in your name only and you're putting non-marital funds in there and you're not commingling the funds, it doesn't matter.
No, sad truth.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
So then let's talk about the initial request for a parenting plan and timesharing. So initially you had told me that you had wanted to have more time than he did. And in the same...
Well, I thought I wanted 50-50 because in my mind at the time, I wanted a break.
You did want a break, but you also had said, but like I'm the one doing a lot of the caring for them.
Yeah.
And then you had let me know that he was watching them almost every single night, and you weren't home and you were working overnight. And I was like, well, it's going to be a very hard,
Yes.
uphill battle for you to say, yeah, he's watching them every night.
Oh, yes.
But, I would like to have them more at the time, even though I'm then not going to be home at night because you were still working nights at the time. So even though you didn't like it, that was where we started, because that was also right after the law had changed.
Oh, yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah, the law had just changed that summer so that Florida became, 50-50 timesharing was the presumption that that was what was in the kid's best interest. So that's where we started from.
You hear that? 50-50 originally.
That's where we started. That's not where we ended. And then we asked for child support because we knew we couldn't prove at the time that he was making far more money than he was putting on paper, or that you even knew, because he was able to pay for all y'all's stuff and another family's stuff.
Yeah, 2 families.
Yeah, 2 families.
Maybe 3. Hell, I don't know, but we know for sure.
Yeah,
2.
at least 2. So, and then obviously we had a caveat. We asked for attorney's fees, which is
my favorite thing.
A good thing we did, because we needed that.
Yes.
When you first, was there anything you were afraid of when you first called me and decided we were going to get this process going? What was that?
I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of people thinking I was a liar. I was afraid that his family was going to think that I'm lying, because he presents himself to be somebody completely different in comparison to who he is as a person. I thought he was just going to fabricate the whole thing and then hate me. I was worried about my special needs son. I was worried, I am going to have to be the sole provider here. And how am I going to do that without help? As far as, because I was already sacrificing in my mind, if I'm working at night and being up during the day, who's going to make sure they're okay overnight? I was worried about the betrayal. I was really hurt by, how could he have a whole nother family? How could he hurt the kids? I was afraid that my kids would rebel against me and hate me. And him manipulate my kids into thinking that I was a problem. I was afraid of...
Which happened at one point.
Yes, it did happen.
Yeah.
I was afraid of raising my special needs son alone by myself, while he, in my mind at the time, while he gets to just have a side family and then just get off, and I'm the one that has to bury all that alone. But the money was the main problem for me, because I can make the money, but I can't make the money without help for my special needs kid. This isn't a normal child or a typical child, should say, where you can get a babysitter and they're like, yeah, sure, this is, you're talking more money that has to be paid up front, and we're just going to hope that the person pays you back. I was just worried about everything. I was worried at the fact that he's not going to leave. He's just going to torment me, which he did not leave.
Yeah.
So I was worried about a lot of things, because I didn't have control. I didn't have control anymore, or I never had control, but in my mind I thought I did, and I was just worried about my children. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's one thing that holds people back a lot. Instead of, as soon as at the first, maybe the first, second, third sign that things are not right in their marriage, they don't immediately try to find a way to protect themselves. They try to find a way to protect what they think their family dynamic is and what they think is going on. Because in reality, he wasn't helping you.
No, I figured that out after the fact.
He wasn't helping you with the kids. He wasn't really helping you with the bills, which we found out later on. He was accumulating.
Which he manipulated me into thinking that he was.
Yeah.
And I never stayed. This is a hard pill to swallow, but I did not stay for the sake of my kids, in hindsight. I stayed because of my own insecurities and my own self-hate. Because if I'm going to tell you today that I stayed for my kids, it wasn't a positive experience for them, regardless of what they see. So I didn't stay for the kids. I stayed for my own oh, maybe I was thinking I can't get somebody else, or I'm just stuck in this. Maybe I deserve this. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's why I stayed.
You guys were together for a long time.
20 years.
Yeah, that's a really
Mm-hmm.
long time. What, in the beginning, if anything, was a surprise to you as to what the process looked like versus what maybe you had in your head?
Fairness isn't the law.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, the
know?
law's not fair.
No.
No, it's not.
And the way how I would tell you something and you would tell me, like, I understand, but like, that's not gonna do. Or like him saying he's homeless and I know he's not homeless, and me going and getting proof that he's not homeless, like just really like saying things isn't Bible. Like you
Yeah.
have to prove everything.
Right.
And that wasn't what I was expecting. And I also expected, not that I expected you to do everything for me as my attorney, I didn't understand the process of how much I would have to take initiative in my own case to help you help me.
Right. Right.
I didn't never thought like, well, she's supposed to do this, she's supposed to do that. I didn't even have the money to pay you technically, but I knew that in order to get a better outcome, I was going to have to help in this situation.
Right. Because that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people will come to an attorney and then they'll just poof, they'll disappear because they think that the attorney is going to do everything. Oh, you can handle this now. Mm-hmm. But I don't have access to your house. I don't have access to your kids. I don't have access to your bank records. I don't have access to anything unless you give me that access or you give it to me.
Yes.
And you also want to make things as clean and as streamlined as possible to save on attorney's fees. If you dump a box of crap like somebody did at my office and it's not properly labeled or it's not in order or you've got every 2 pages is stapled. Stop stapling stuff and giving it to your attorney. Put paper clips on it, please.
Was I supposed to pay for that when he sent it to you? I know, but like it would technically, would that be?
Technically, yes. Technically, anytime the opposing side gives you anything, like that's me working on your case.
Yeah.
And so it's being billed against your retainer.
Wow.
So that is also why every time stuff like that happened, which we'll get into, we had to go in front of the court and ask for you to get some attorney's fees back because I was doing more work because he was giving me more work to do.
Yeah.
But in reality, it was still your case and it was still helping your case for us to go through all that stuff. But I think a lot of people put their head in the sand. A lot of people put their head in the sand, especially when they hire attorneys because they feel like, okay, like my job here is done.
Yes.
But I can only help you as much as you help yourself. Like I'm not a magician. I'm not anything more than somebody who has the experience and, knows the proper procedure and knows the case law and knows enough about what you're going through to be able to guide you and tell you, hey, this is relevant. Hey, this is not going to help you. Hey, shut up about this, like whatever it is.
Yep. But you don't think about that when you're the client.
No, you don't, because it's such getting divorced is traumatic.
Yeah.
It's traumatic for a lot of people.
It is.
And it turns into warfare.
It does. That's a good word.
Unfortunately, especially when you have kids, like that can significantly damage your kids. So even if you are in the right,
yes.
One of the things I always said was like, you need to rise above it. It doesn't matter that he's this big old POS. Like at the end of the day, if you're both making it difficult for each other, you're both making it difficult for your kids then. So I'm not telling you to roll over by any means necessary, but you also need to keep that in mind,
That's a very forgetful thing through the process.
Yeah, because it's this person that you have a lot of history with. There's a lot of hurt there. You wouldn't be getting divorced if there wasn't a lot of hurt there, except maybe the 80-year-olds who are like, we just fell out of love, like, or whatever. Yes. But there's so much there to unpack. But at the end of the day, the best thing that you can do for your case and especially for your kids is to not get swallowed up into this. I'm going to show how wrong they are because you learned you didn't really have to show that.
Yes, and
He showed it.
And I definitely had that mindset. I'm gonna get you. I kept saying, I'm gonna get him every single time. I'm gonna get him. But he did the work.
He got himself.
Yeah.
He did the work for us.
Yes.
A lot of the time. So we filed your paperwork. We get him served. We start going through the mandatory disclosure process. And it's called mandatory disclosure because it's mandatory. Yeah. Just want to point that out. You are going to
must be done.
It must be done. You are going to have to expose your financial position to the other side.
And this is where it gets good.
There's a reason why you have to do this. Mm-hmm. It's so that you both can come together at mediation, because you will end up going to mediation more than likely. In our jurisdiction, everybody's got to go to mediation unless you find a way to come to an agreement beforehand, which is not going to happen here. No. You both need to be totally aware of what the other person is offering and what their position is before you can agree to anything. Otherwise, you're going in blind. You're agreeing to stuff blind, and that's not fair. So it's important that you both do that. And it may feel like an invasion of privacy. It is. Get over it. You know, like, it's got to be done. And I remember one of the first things that made me like you was we started this process of getting all of the financial stuff together in Discovery, and you're like, I know he's got a bunch of credit cards. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Can you prove it? And you're like, yep. And I start getting these emails in, and it's just picture after picture after picture of just Marquita. Yes. Holding the credit card up with your ex-husband's name on it, taking a picture.
Because I waited for him to go in the shower.
I know.
I waited for him to go in the shower, and I said, okay.
Yep.
Because he's going to lie. I knew he was going to lie and say he had no money. Mm-hmm. And then if I just thought it through, like, well, if I'm saying he has credit cards, but I don't have proof that he has these credit cards, and he's not producing the credit cards, and he has no credit cards. And I'm like, I'll be damned.
Yeah.
So I got every front, back. I got checking, because he had other bank accounts, like business accounts. Yep. Then I found credit cards with my name on it. Or is that how I found out? I don't know.
I think that we had you run a credit check. After that happened, we had you do a credit check.
He had credit cards in my name. Yeah. Credit cards in my name that I knew nothing about. But we could talk about that.
And that was the biggest issue, is we did not want there to be any marital debt that was ended up going to be like on your side, you know, like that was scary. So we handled that later on, though. We didn't do it. We didn't show our hand right off the bat.
Yeah, this is good.
So at first we also did like a really long request for production, where we asked for more than just the bare minimum mandatory disclosure, because he had a business. And when people have a business, they have far more financial documents than you normally would if you were just some 1099 or W-2, you know, like you've got to.
Like, you put it out there. You put Cash App, I think, and
Cash App, Zelle, Venmo. Yeah. I wanted pictures of all the checks from all of his bank accounts, and I went through the personal and the business side, and we went back like 3 years, I think, which is much longer than you normally go back with stuff like that. But we filed your petition at the beginning of November of 2023, and we did that request for production not even a month later. We were like, we know that we're not going to get everything. Yeah, so we need to just start getting it now. Normally, I don't do that right away.
Oh, okay.
I don't do a request for production right away because A, it eats up your money.
Oh.
But B, I may be able to find what I need in the initial mandatory disclosure. But how he was acting was like, well, we might as well just do this now. You know, set the tone that you're not going to get away with anything from the jump.
Yes.
And then he filed an answer to our petition at the end of December and filed a counter petition. And then we ended up having to file, like, I sent him a good faith letter saying, hey, it's been 30 days since I sent you that request for production. And, you know, I need it because you're required to give me this stuff. I need it within 10 days, I think. which is like pretty standard time. And he didn't do it, obviously. And so then I filed a motion to compel. And I told the court, I filed this request for production on X day. It's past due. I sent a good faith letter to the opposing party. Here it is attached to this motion. I want this right now. And I want attorney's fees for it. The judge granted the order. We didn't have to go to a hearing on that one. He granted it I filed it January 24th and he granted it on February 7th. And then on February 13th, your ex filed his certificate of compliance with mandatory disclosure, certifying that he had complied with mandatory disclosure. It's in the title.
Of course.
It's in the title, people. He checked off a bunch of boxes saying that he provided stuff and didn't list what he provided.
Classic.
Looking back now, it's classic. We didn't know how classic it was at the time, but he didn't provide anything.
No.
He filed a financial affidavit and said he made like 4 pennies a month or something ridiculous.
Very ridiculous.
And didn't list anything else. Like, didn't list what his bills were, like, really, or anything like that. So he obviously didn't follow the judge's first order. Now, this is going to be a recurring theme, where the judge in this case enters an order, and your ex-husband doesn't follow it.
No.
I don't think there was a single order that he's followed.
No.
And we've had a lot of orders.
So many.
So I filed that towards the end of March, the motion for contempt, because he did not produce his documents from the December request for production. And we had I totally forgot about this until I was looking your case up the other day. We had mediation scheduled.
Yes.
And I had to file a motion to reschedule it.
Yes.
And I think I have filed a motion to reschedule mediation 3 times in my entire career.
That's crazy. But
because I want people to settle. And so unless it's something big, I won't push it off. I'll say, maybe we have enough for what we need. I don't want to waste anybody's time, but I also don't want you to continue to have to be sitting in this court process unless you have to.
Yep.
But we had nothing. I filed a motion for contempt in March of 2024. And then on April 8th, I filed that morning a motion to reschedule our mediation, stating that we had not received full disclosure yet, and mediation was set for the 16th of April. So you could have been divorced in April, but it waited until June. Because again, the other side prolonged it. I still see divorce cases go on for much longer than that, but still, if you do what you're supposed to do, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out process.
Mm-hmm.
But if one person digs their heels in, it could be much longer than what
it's
it's
supposed to be. And I did everything. Like
I know.
He remember when he was pro se, and then he got a lawyer, and then he was asking for all this stuff.
Yeah, and we did it immediately.
Immediately.
Yep, because there was no way I was going to let you walk into court not complying with their request for production when he still hadn't come on and be like, well, he hasn't complied. I don't care that he hasn't complied. And I think that was one of the things you had said was like, well, why is he asking for this when he hasn't even done it? I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't too thrilled about that one either.
I know.
It's like, I got to show all this stuff and this man is not showing anything.
Yes.
But I sent it all.
Because that is going to make you look like you were doing what you're supposed to be doing to the court, because you are.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't it's not supposed to be some petty game.
Yeah.
And you do what you're supposed to do. And this literally ties right back into like how you're supposed to act when co-parenting. Like, who cares if the other side is not doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
You do what you need to do in the capacity that you can, and do what needs to be done to make sure that everything's taken care of.
You sent it like that.
I think we probably got it done within 10 days, and you had like 30 days to do it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to wait.
No, yeah. You had it all.
Yeah. I didn't want to drag it out. So we go into court. That was our first court hearing. How was it? How was your first court hearing?
Nerve-wracking. It was so ghetto. It was just so ghetto.
It was ghetto. I hope not.
Not for you, not on your behalf. It's like the way it played out. Like, is that the one with the lawyer there? I don't remember the first one.
First one, the lawyer was not at. He didn't hire the lawyer until right after
that.
Because the judge said, you will hand this disclosure over.
Yeah.
And then he hired, I think, if I remember correctly, he filed something that day that the order came out, but
Yes.
he had already hired an attorney that morning, and so the judge struck what he had filed pro se. He's like, you're represented. You can't file anything anymore. That's another pro tip. If you are represented by counsel, you can't file anything yourself anymore.
Yes.
The judge will strike it from the record.
Yes.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yes.
So that's what happened.
I don't even remember the first day. I don't. You have to
It was
tell
short.
Me.
It was short.
I don't remember it. I remember when the attorney was there and everything after, but I don't.
We'll get to that one. So from what I remember, your ex comes in and the judge asked me, like, are you ready to proceed? Yes, we're ready. Okay, like I know we're here because you filed a motion for contempt. What's going on with that? And all I had to do was say, if you look at his certificate of compliance, you can see he didn't provide anything for that. And then we still don't have anything. There's still no response to our request for production. He didn't file anything. He didn't send us anything. And he's like, I sent everything over. And I'm like, well, no, you didn't. And the judge is like, clear you didn't, because there was nothing filed. So like, I know you didn't, and I'm looking at your certificate right now on my computer, and there's nothing there. You checked off a bunch of boxes and you didn't provide anything. How am I supposed to know what you provided? And that's another thing to be clear about too. If you are filing anything with the court about what you're providing to the other side, you need to be very specific about what you're providing, what dates you're providing it for. And I'm not telling you to put your account numbers out there. God, no. But if you have 2 Bank of America accounts, you need to put, like, I provided Bank of America, last 4 digits of the account are 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
And, here's 12 months of it, or of these checking statements. And then here's, Bank of America account 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's 12 months. Like, you need to be specific, because you go into court and the judge is going to say, I don't believe you. Because here's what you said you provided, and there's literally nothing here.
Yeah. Yep.
So at that one, we got attorney's fees. That was our first time getting attorney's fees. And the judge says you need to pay half within 30 days and then the other half within 60 days.
Oh, yeah. That happened so many times, I feel like, right? Like,
it did. But eventually, because here's the thing too, I know that he's terrible, and you know he's terrible. This is the judge's first time. He's trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
The judge will try to give you the benefit of the doubt until you prove to him that he shouldn't give you the benefit of the doubt. And that's what happened.
Yes.
So literally 2 days later, so our hearing was on the 8th, and he hires a lawyer 2 days later. And then they file a response to our request for production, and there's still not everything there.
Yeah.
If I get on a case for somebody midstream and I'm like, you have this stuff outstanding, you better have it to me, I would say you better have it to me before I even get on a case, if I'm being honest. Because otherwise, I'm a sitting duck then.
Yeah.
But during this time is when we found out about one of the places he was going when he was leaving the house at night when you were working.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I don't know in the order, but I remember one day my son called me and said that his dad was not home, and I was at work already, like, got my patients, like, I can't leave, right? So my son's like, Dad's not here, and I have to go. I think it was a school event. I don't remember, but that's besides the point. So I said, call him. He didn't answer. So then my friend at work was like, you know what? Just call the non-emergent 911 and report that he's missing. Do a wellness check, because there's no way that he knows he's supposed to be there at 6:30. It is now almost 9. Nobody can get a hold of him. So long story short, send the cops to the side girl, the now main, whatever, Willie Mae.
That's right. You say her name.
Willie Mae's house. Her name proud. Yep. Because I'm like, I know you lying. So then anyway, I had that for record. But then that prompted me, if my order is correct.
Yeah.
That prompted me to be like, oh, we playing this game. Like, I have to prove that this man isn't there.
Yeah.
And that was the first step, if I'm remembering the order correctly, of proving that he's not there.
That made you go back and check.
Yes. So I go back and I see on the Ring camera that he left. But I don't know if I saw that he left, but I saw when he came in.
Mm-hmm.
And he came
late.
in sweaty. I think it was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Disgusting.
Typical.
Yeah. Classic.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, please. So I'm like mad. I come home. I look in the trash. I was trying to find a reason on what was going on. I don't know if I don't remember, but I know that I found the flowery dispensary bag in the trash with the date on the receipt, which would have been the time that he's supposed to be there.
Yep.
But he's buying weed at the dispensary.
Right.
So it's like priorities.
Right.
You know, you could have bought this earlier in the day if that's your thing.
Yep.
You know? But
right.
You chose to do that in the midst of the time that you're supposed to be here to take care of your children.
In the middle of the divorce.
In the middle of the divorce.
Right.
Yes.
So that shifted our perspective on a parenting plan and time sharing schedule right there. You know? Because at first we weren't 100% sure. And I think one of the things that I'd also said was like, well, if he's leaving, like, you don't know that he's leaving and you can't use what your kid is telling you as evidence.
Yeah, that's what it was. You told me I couldn't use the kid stuff, so I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
And luckily for us, like, he continued to be who he is.
A dumbass, yeah.
And so you sent me that stuff, and I was like, all right, well, we need to pivot pretty hard. And so that's...
And the gun in the drawer.
Yeah. That was... Now,
but he always does that.
All of this took place around the same time, though, as him trashing your room, didn't it?
I don't remember.
I feel like everything happened at one time. Like, there was like a big explosion that happened. And I think that the thing with him leaving for the dispensary happened. We filed... No, because in our motion for because we filed a motion for temporary leave because we needed to get him out of that house.
Because he wouldn't leave.
Because he wouldn't leave, but he kept going and sleeping in Willie Mae's bed.
Yes.
And then...
Come at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And just like, take my car, go to her house, because where's he going?
Right.
And then just one time he bought her kids, because she has 2 kids, that's not his kids, Nerf guns and stuff, and had it in the back of my car. And then my other son found it. It's just a mess. Yeah. Anyways, we couldn't get him out of the house. But you were saying something about the financial stuff, about the credit cards, and then I started.
Yeah, no, we found out about him leaving, and then right around that same time, I think you confronted him about it, and that's when, because in our motion for temporary leave, we also mentioned that he trashed the house. So this happened before we filed our motion.
Yes, because you told his attorney that he trashed the house.
I did. Because
I think that was the first time you like thought I was like, okay, because you were like mad about that. I feel like you were mad.
I knew you were okay.
Okay, good.
I just, again, like, I have to like keep...
I know.
Bringing you, I had to keep refocusing on you on what needed to be done.
Yes, I was emotional.
Which is fair enough.
I am an emotional person though, so
that's fine. Like,
no, but I needed to be guided. Is what I'm saying, and I appreciate that.
So I think what happened was he stopped paying the mortgage. He stopped paying the electric. He trashed your room, the room that you two had shared. He left notes around your room and around the house. Saying god awful things about you so that your kids could read them.
Yep. And about them, saying that I don't want your kids.
I don't want your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Left the gun out in reach of both of your youngest. I mean, all of them, obviously, but my biggest concern is your younger kids. And that's when we were like, all right, like, this is not just we're dealing with somebody who doesn't want to turn over their finances. Like, we're dealing with somebody who has no conscience at all. Nope. So that's when we filed a motion for temp relief, and we asked for an expedited hearing. We told the court that he stopped paying the mortgage and the electric, his half of the mortgage and the electric. He was supposed to watch the kids, but he was leaving. We said that he trashed the room and left the notes everywhere. We asked for child support. We asked for exclusive use and possession of the home, and we asked for the court to consider a partial equitable distribution of the truck. Because at that point, you needed to have the truck to make sure that you could get your youngest to and from wherever he needed to be. Like, it wasn't even about
it wasn't
anything like that anymore. So we did that. And then we had to do another motion for contempt because he never gave us the other financials from the order that we had from the first hearing, and he never paid the attorney's fees.
We never got the financials.
Recurring theme. So I'm pretty sure within less than 2 weeks, no, it actually was 9 days his attorney filed to get off.
Yes, his attorney fired him.
Yeah, his attorney's like, no, I can't.
Classic.
I'm not doing this. Which is fair enough. Right after that, we also then filed a motion for leave to amend your pleadings so that we could ask for majority timesharing, because originally we had only asked for equal. But at that point, I was like, okay, like this is not okay. We need to do something, because he does not have like the kid's best interests right now.
Mm-mm.
And I know that if you don't ask for something in your petition, like you can't get it at the end. So you need to make sure that your petition is very clear about the general idea of what you want. And if you were asking for 50-50 in your petition and you get all the way to trial and you forgot to amend it, the judge is only going to say, only 50-50 is on the table, unless the other person has said, no, I don't want 50-50. So we had to do that. So then we get to the first hearing we had was the hearing on our motion for contempt, because he still didn't give us the financials, and his attorney's motion to withdraw. That poor attorney did not know what was coming.
No.
Because that was the hearing where he's like, I don't have these things. And I said, I know for a fact he's got credit cards that he's not producing.
Yeah, this is a good one.
And he's like, no, I don't. Yeah. And so I said, well, I want to ask you about these. And because I used it as rebuttal evidence, I didn't have to turn the pictures over in advance.
Oh, that's how. Oh, I thought the attorney saw it ahead of time and just didn't tell him.
He did not. He did not see it ahead of time, because we knew he was going to lie.
Yeah.
So, because only two things could happen. He could either lie and say, I don't have these credit cards, or he'd say, yeah, I have them, and I still haven't turned them over. So when he lied, I said, all right, bet.
Bet.
And I took out the pictures that you had given me like 6 months earlier. And I said, what credit card? Why do you have this?
And I'm talking, it's a stack, right? It was a stack.
Yeah. You had like 20 cards, I think. Pictures of like 20 cards. So I showed them, and he goes,
where did you get that?
Where did you get this?
And you're like,
and I'm like,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where I got it from.
Man,
and that is why you need to do your own footwork.
Yes, because you never know.
You never know. So that royally pissed off the judge. The other attorney was like, thank God, I'm getting off this case. And that was also, I believe, the hearing where from every future hearing after that, because there was many, normally the judge only has one deputy in the courtroom. You've got your bailiff, you've got one deputy.
It was like a military, right? Like
I believe at one point the highest count was 6 or 7 deputies in the courtroom that we had every single time we were in court after that, because of how
belligerent he was belligerent.
Ridiculous. Yeah. And the judge was like, I'm not having none of this.
No.
I think at our temporary relief hearing, which happened after that, which was not long after that, I remember we showed the judge the receipt for him being at the dispensary, and we showed the judge the screenshots from the Ring camera showing the exact date and time where he was leaving.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, that makes sense.
And that thoroughly made him mad. And I remember he was going on a rant, and I looked over to you because we were sitting on this side of the judge, and there was the door that goes back to the jail.
Yes.
Right there. Yes. And a deputy walked out, and I was like, that's interesting. And then I saw his normal deputy standing there, which he always is, standing by the jury box. And then I remember hearing the back door, the doors from behind us open, and he's still ranting. And I remember just like, turning around, and I was like, yo, there's some deputies in here. There's a lot of deputies in here.
And I was like, does this normally happen? You're
like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't happen. But the worst part of that hearing, which was also the best part, was when he said to the court, just give her whatever she wants. And we had asked for 100% time sharing and sole parental responsibility, which I was shocked that we got. But like, I was thinking, he's abandoning these kids. Like, every time he leaves, like, what was going through your mind when someone who was so like, oh, I just want to be a good dad and I want to be there, I want to take care of my kids, and he just says,
I don't want them.
I don't want them.
Man, words can't describe, because I knew I was mad at him and I was really in on getting him, or whatever emotional level I was on. But when he said that he didn't want his children, it broke me. Like, because my kids don't deserve that.
Right.
Like, his betrayal, this divorce process. You don't say that about your children, no matter what. And I don't know if he says the things he says to hurt me, but at what cost? Like, you're willing to hurt your children. But see, he says that, right, in court. He said that, but then tells the kids that I'm the reason why he can't see them. Like, I took them away.
Yep. And that you're hiding them from him, and you won't let them see him.
Yes. So that's where things get messed up, because if you're gonna say you don't want your kids, but then tell the kids that it's me, that's even worse, because it's not me, it's you.
Right.
You are the problem.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, she did, though, because she got him with no other strings attached.
God bless you for taking him. God bless.
You should be grateful.
I'm so grateful. And when she told me that before, I was like, I'm mad, but I am so happy she can deal with that now.
Yeah. To backtrack, at the temporary relief hearing, you got exclusive use and possession of the house.
Yes.
You got the truck.
Yes.
You got child support. What you got was guidelines.
I know. So I don't really
Which is a good number because it's guidelines. But
yeah, I mean, it's good for the law side of it, but
I know it doesn't, but child support never feels like enough, because it really isn't enough.
Yeah.
Technically, it's not enough.
And I don't get the shit anyway, so.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
That is true. So we leave that hearing, and then mediation was not long after that. It was 2 days later.
He picked the mediator.
Yes, we let him pick the mediator. So we were at mediation
forever. Right?
It felt like forever, but I don't think it was the full day. I think it was
like
only
4 hours.
It was like 3 or 4 hours. Yeah.
And you have to pay per hour.
Yes, you do. You both do.
Yeah. We both, and then you have to pay before you leave. So all this like back and forth stuff and this being stubborn stuff is costing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, it is. And in the end, he ends up agreeing to you having sole parental responsibility, you still having 100% time. He agreed to give you the house. Didn't have to pay him out. I know. You didn't have to buy him out.
But wait, he did want to sell the house originally. Remember? Did. And he said that I needed to pay him for credit card debt.
Yeah.
And he wanted to sell the house and give him 50%? I don't remember.
Yeah, he did, and have you pay him $15,000 because he got you through nursing school.
Oh, imagine that. Okay.
Yeah. So he agreed to everything from the temporary relief hearing, again, because it was only 2 days earlier. And I had gotten the order to the judge like that day, I think. So that was already ordered no matter what was going to happen at mediation. And then you got the house. Mm-hmm. The truck stayed with you. And then he agreed to pay 100% of childcare. He agreed to pay 100% of childcare with the dumbest caveat I have ever heard and seen in the entire time I've been in family law.
I'm sure.
He did not want you to have any communication with him at all. He wanted you to go out of your way to send a receipt to his P.O. box because he's still trying to pretend like he doesn't have a home.
He's homeless.
Homeless, aka your baby mama's house. You had to then take pictures of you like putting the envelope in the mailbox with a timestamp to prove that you were sending it.
Mm-hmm. Then he had 35 days from the time.
Yes, because we had to had to give him 5 days for the postmark or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we just said, okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. We were like, whatever. We're like, this is really dumb. But whatever.
Well, the thing is his history with receipts. Like, I would give him copies of checks that I paid babysitters, and he would say, how do I know you really paid the babysitter?
Right.
So then I turned it so I knew he was gonna say something like, oh, I didn't get it.
Right.
And then that's when you and the mediator was like, okay, well then we're gonna put this time on here because Because he's going to say he never got it.
We had to figure out a way to get around the no communication thing because he didn't want any email. He
Not
didn't
that
want text.
that device thing or that program that people
like
use.
the Our Family Wizard, the co-parenting app. Like he didn't want any of that.
He said he'll talk to the kids about parenting.
Yeah, which he
does not.
Yeah, not anymore. And we got your case like finalized that day. I sent the final judgment over to the judge that day, and you were divorced by 5 o'clock or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we both knew, sitting in mediation, that was it. Like it was over.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew it wasn't over.
That's the part.
Yeah, it wasn't over. You think when your case is done, it's over, but sometimes it's not over, and you have to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we had talked about, which we just talked about earlier, was, okay, like if you don't come to an agreement here, what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
What does it look like? It looks like you paying out the nose in more attorney's fees, which you couldn't afford.
No, I could not afford it.
And then having to go to a trial and letting a stranger decide what was going to happen with your case, with your kids. Now, granted, like we had already had pretty good, I don't want to say luck because it wasn't luck. We had pretty good outcomes happen for us the 3 times we had been to court during your case.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty obvious by that last hearing before your divorce was finalized that the judge could see right through them and knew what was going to happen.
Yep.
So, but you never, like, if you can come to an agreement, come to an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
That is my biggest thing with anybody. Is like, if you are able to come to an agreement, come to it. You know, what is your, like, peace of mind worth? What's it worth to you? Like, financially, spiritually, what's it worth to you to keep fighting?
Yeah.
You better have a really good reason to want to go to trial. Other than, oh, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
That's not a good reason.
Yeah.
You know? So after that happened, he also said that he was going to pay you $850 in attorney's fees in the marital settlement agreement that was then adopted by the final judgment and enforced. He did not pay it. So we were already, July of 2024, I filed an affidavit of noncompliance because he didn't pay you, which tracks. And then the court entered an order to show cause as to why he did not pay those attorney's fees. He paid it like on the 2 days after the order was entered. So then it had to be like you paid it all, so we didn't have to go to court.
Yeah, I do remember that.
But then in September, we had to go to court because he hadn't paid a lick of child support, hadn't paid a lick of child care. There was nothing. And you had a stack of evidence already of you sending the receipts and him not paying anything.
Mm-hmm.
We had to have another hearing. So that was our first post-judgment contempt. And we had 3 total. That was our first post-judgment contempt. We go to court, show the judge everything. He had made 2 child support payments 2 days before the hearing.
Mm-hmm. That's classic move.
Yeah. Because if you file a motion for contempt and you go to court and the other side has already cured the injury by paying it,
then
you're done. You don't really get anything. But because the child care was still outstanding and the hearing was October 2nd and he hadn't paid the October 1st child support payment, the judge is like, yeah, you're still behind, pal. And the judge was like, why did you wait 2 days? And that's because he knew what he was doing. Like the judge knew what was going on. He said, like, why didn't you pay this on time? He didn't have an explanation.
He just kept saying, I paid it.
I paid it. He owed you almost $3,500 in childcare. He had to then pay over $1,600 in attorney's fees, and the judge again gave him like some time to pay it.
Yeah, he gave him a lot of grace on that.
He gave him 30 days to pay the attorney's fees, but he had to pay you the outstanding childcare and child support by the 1st of November. And if he didn't, he was going to issue a writ of bodily attachment and throw him in jail.
But for reference, I had a babysitter at the time. This is almost $20 an hour, right? So I'm working at night. I'm working overtime to pay Sarah to pay this lady, right? So this is money that
Could be
isn't,
one of your kids.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's also not money that I initially was spending towards my marital home or my life. This is all this extra money. So I'm putting up this money up front so that my kids are being taken care of, that I'm providing freedom for my family, things that I didn't account for. And it's just accruing. It's just accumulating. And so I have to keep working more overtime, and then I have to keep paying this person.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, just pay it. Just pay the money. You don't want anything to do with your kids. You don't have to take care of a disabled child. You don't have to do anything but just pay the money. Now, I don't even think the child care fees would have been that high if I didn't have to work overtime to pay her. Like, if I was just getting the money like I should have been getting, it would have ended up being cheaper for him in the long. But he was like, I would rather go to jail than pay for the kids or pay you or something.
Yeah, he wrote you an email. That's when because you emailed him and you were like, hey, you owe me this money.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I would rather go to jail than give you any financial assistance.
Yes.
And which is just so asinine, because the assistance not for you.
It's not.
It's for the kids.
I don't know why he knows that it's not for me. He knows I'm not that type of mother that that's not even possible.
Yeah.
It's not possible, especially when you have a disabled kid.
Right.
And a special need kid is a lot of money. It soaks up that $800 a month, because I don't get any benefits for my son.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. And I don't. I know. So
that's the thing that's, hard too, is because that's what those benefits are there for, is to help people. And unfortunately, you have done too well for yourself, trying to make a better life for you and your kids, that then you don't get any extra help.
No, I don't.
You don't get the help from their dad, and you don't get any help for what our taxes are for.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you have to, like you said, it's a vicious cycle. You have to work more hours in, and then that accumulates more childcare costs. Yes. And then you're spending less time away from them. And then he files some crap saying, I want to modify because she's not home with them. And, I want to take care of my kids.
Oh, yeah. Then
and she's depressed. And it's like, yeah, I would be too. If I'd been married to you for 20 years, I'd be depressed too. And he's like, oh, I knew all about it, but I didn't want to say anything. You can't do that. You can't do that and say, oh, yeah, give my depressed wife our kids because I just don't want to deal with it anymore. But then the second he's got to start paying childcare, which is what he agreed to do, he's like, no, I want him. Oh,
I got a place of my own now.
I got a place of my own, but I'm also homeless. And I'm not making any money to pay childcare and child support, but I can support the kids when they're with me. Pick a lane. Pick a lane. Oh, and also, like, I have other kids too. Like,
oh yeah, I got several other kids.
I got several other kids.
He makes a point to tell the judge that many times too.
Yep.
And the judge is always like, well, looks like we're here for Marquita's kid.
Yeah. If you file a supplemental petition to modify, you better have a substantial material change in circumstance. You better not be bringing up stuff that you were like, oh, I already knew this, but I just didn't want to say anything. You lose on that argument. It better be something new that has happened since the last final judgment that's occurred. The thing that grinds my gears, I knew that he was dishonorable, but when we went to court for that second contempt, and he brought one of your kids with you, knowing that there was a writ outstanding for his arrest, that was disgusting to me. I've seen people like drag their kids to court before. I've seen people drag their kids to mediation, but I have never in my life seen somebody bring one of their own kids to court knowing that they could be arrested because he wanted to make sure, because he had his hooks in him, like your ex had his hooks in him at that point. Mm-hmm. And he hadn't seen him, wasn't spending time with him, managed to make time to take him from school, pulled him out of school so that he could bring him to the courthouse to watch him possibly get arrested because look what your mom did to me.
I'm not sure he thought he was going to get arrested because he thinks that he's above the law. I think he thought because he brought my son there to testify against me. I don't know what capacity I don't know what my son was going to say, but it really triggered me. It really made me get out of character because what are you doing? And he used my son as bait because he knows that all my kids love him but I think two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
You know, you can love your dad and he can love you, whatever, but like he's a piece of shit. And that's what it is. You can love him, but he's a piece of shit. But to take my son out of school, I mean, he was turning my son against me this whole time. That one son, for his benefit. And it was a mess.
Yeah.
That day was a damn mess.
Yeah, it was because
he went to jail.
He didn't walk out of that courtroom.
No.
Your kids sat out in the hallway and did not walk out of that courtroom.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine like the devastation, especially going in there thinking like I'm helping my dad.
Yeah.
Whatever he thought of you at the time, I know he was seriously confused, but like whatever he thought of you at the time, like the look on his face was like, just sad, you know? And he starts getting loud and I need those keys and I gotta go
and he's not that type of kid. Like the thing is like my kids are good kids, and although they were in a poor environment with their dad because he's crazy, that's my responsibility, my fault. But my kids are pretty level-headed, and for him to act like that, it was just like, choose me, choose me, choose me. You know, like I don't know. It was really bad. Yeah, that was really messed up.
But luckily now, like he's on track. He knows what's up. He's doing a lot better. He's about to graduate, so that's good. You know, so if you're dealing with parental alienation, if you're dealing with one parent manipulating the kids, 9 times out of 10, the kids will eventually see what's going on. They may be a little bit older. They may have to go through it. They may still love the other parent. Like that's gonna happen.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
But I'm not sure if my son realizes, but I think that we're in a good place. I just keep telling the kids, I'm not trying to stop you from loving your dad, but like, what is he doing for you?
Right.
And then, you know, from one of my kids to say, you know, I don't have a dad, and that bothers me because why would you do that to your children? Like if you want to, but it just seems like it's all to hurt me, but he's hurting the kids and they're going to grow up one day.
I think he just thinks that they're an extension of you, and so he doesn't see them as like his kids.
I think so.
He sees them as your kids.
Because he says that they're your kids.
Yeah. So what happened? I think it was, it must have been the first contempt hearing when he didn't comply. We filed the affidavit of noncompliance. We had the judge issued a writ of bodily attachment, which means he was going to jail for a specific purge amount.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it took a while to get him arrested, but it took so long that we ended up with our next motion for contempt being filed, and he showed up to court, and that's when the writ was executed. Because we couldn't find him. And I know you tried.
Well, the first time I gave it up, I found out what his address was.
Right.
And then I let you know the address, and you put that on the writ.
Yes.
And then the second time, I didn't know where he was.
Yeah.
So we just kept putting Willie Mae's parents' house on there, and then like wherever else.
Right.
And then that's how he got arrested, is what you're saying, because we couldn't find him.
Right.
And then the third time, we still couldn't find him.
Right. Well, the third time he ended up paying it.
Oh yes.
He gets arrested twice. We had 3 contempts that had to happen in a span of like 7 or 8 months. Because the first one started in September of 2024. The last hearing was in January of this year.
Yes.
But we also had a fun little side quest in child support court.
Did we?
Yes, we did. We had to go to child support court with the child support hearing officer and not our usual judge.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because
that was good.
The Department of Revenue got involved and they suspended his license and was going to suspend his contractor license. Yes. So they filed to suspend all that. He filed an objection, and then we went to court in like August or something. I think it
think
was like
so.
August or September of 25. And
And you just did it nice, just to be nice, because it was
yeah,
like, right? It was just
yeah.
like him.
I didn't make you pay me for that.
No.
No. That doesn't, don't get any ideas. um yeah. So we ended up going to child support court, which is where we are. It's, I mean, technically child support was part of the divorce, but when the Department of Revenue gets involved, they sink their teeth into your case. They try to take out that component, and they will sometimes do their own thing, and they will then file on behalf of the person who is receiving child support, the payee, the obligee, and then they will go after the payor for whatever is not paid. And I am really not. I think that I said, "Hey, you need to go contact child support."
Take his license and stuff. I just
Yeah.
kept communicating with them because what happened was when he paid one of the purges, it accounted to that. Like they deducted it off of the
what was owed.
yes,
Right?
and I'm like, no, this is not for this. This is for child care, not child support.
Yeah.
And so with the accumulation, they start doing things little by little.
Yeah.
But I kept in contact with them and
that's what it was.
Told them, and then they took his passport away.
Mm-hmm.
They took his driver's license away, and they were gonna take his contracting license away.
Right. So I remember it must have, I don't remember if it, I think it was the first time he was arrested, because he was arrested at home the first time, and then arrested in court the second time. The first time, the judge who was on duty, I don't know if you remember this, the duty judge, even though our judge had put it in the order that it was very clear that he needed to pay, when the writ was signed by the judge, he put in there that he needed to pay the entire attorney's fees amount that he owed as his purge, or he could sit in jail. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, the duty judge on call that weekend decided that they were going to say, you can just pay like, it was probably $200.
I think it was 200.
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. I think it was 200.
I think it was 200 as well. Yeah. So he pays that, gets out, and just goes on his merry way. Yeah. I was like, nope. That's not happening. I filed a motion to modify that bond order, which is something that you can do. I filed a motion to modify that bond order. I said, this is what happened in our hearing. Our judge, our family judge, needs to hear this. He made a decision based on the evidence that was presented, and that needs to be followed. Mm-hmm. We went back to court, and he reissued the writ. He didn't
show up to that court date, right?
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I can't keep track of how many times he showed up and didn't show up.
I think he didn't show up a couple of times.
But every time he doesn't show up, the hearing lasts about 2 minutes. Every time he does show up.
Oh my God.
What is the worst part about being in court with your ex sitting at the other table?
The lies. And even though I know that everybody knows I'm telling the truth, it's like he makes me nervous. Mm-hmm. He makes me very uncomfortable because he's always emotionally abused me, like told me I was shit and all these things for so long that I still have it in my mind that the things that he's saying is going to be perceived as or portrayed as the truth, even though like half of the shit he says is not, like nothing he says is true.
Yeah.
Most of the time. It's just very, I don't like seeing him at all.
Right.
This isn't fun.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just the lies, the shit he says. He just says the most off the wall lies, and like saying this last court hearing that he owes me like $17,000, and he just says, "Oh, I owe her $8,500 or something." Like, where did that come from? With no proof. He's just like, yeah, I believe so. I believe it's $8,500. Like, what?
Yeah.
And the judge was just like, how much does he owe you again?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm like 17,000 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but it was close to 17,000.
What was your, obviously this is not fun.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your favorite moment in court?
My favorite. I have a couple. The one with the credit cards
Yeah.
when Sarah was like, "What's that?" My other favorite is when he told the judge that I was the reason why he couldn't pay me because I returned his mail. Okay, this is after he moved out and is responsible for his own mail.
Mm-hmm.
He says that, oh, these checks are being mailed to the house and she knows it, and saying my lawyer, she knows it too. And then the judge is like, okay, well, what's the proof? And then he's like showing,
He
like,
had the emails
from the
the
postal
post office
with my address that
right.
he's not supposed to have because he doesn't live there.
Right.
And my next favorite thing is when in the temporary relief, whenever I think it was somewhere where he had to come and pick up all his items within 30 days. That's like his business stuff, his whatever belongings he had in 30 days with police escort.
Yeah.
He never came.
Never came. All that stuff that he was demanding to get back. He never came and got it.
Never. But yeah, those are my favorite moments.
What would you say was driving you forward through all of it?
Because I had no choice. I have the kids and I want a better life. Like, we weren't able to celebrate Christmas, birthdays. He would tell the kids, your mother's the real Santa and you guys believe in Santa. Just sabotage everything. And I just want a happy life for my kids. Like, the Christmas lights we're able to put out, like, that's what motivates me to keep going. I was able to go see Chris Brown without, I know. Yeah, talk about trauma.
Chris
But
Brown, yeah.
well, I am dumb and did dumb things. So there's that. But I don't care. I had a great time. I have a lot of freedom. My children can openly talk. They can bring people over. We're implementing our own traditions. It is very hard though. Like, the divorce process is so hard. It's so draining and you feel so betrayed and you start blaming yourself, or I blamed myself for everything because he said everything was my fault and everything, because he wants to be polygamous and he wants to have multiple wives and all this stuff. So I'm thinking, like, you think that you believe these things, like, I'm the reason, like, I failed my kids, and then you wake up and you're like, no, I have to, like, I had to change my whole job title. I still have the same career, but I had to change things around to accommodate my life now, and it is so great. I mean, obviously, it's not the best because I'm still having to take care of all the kids by myself, which isn't easy. But I try to make pockets of time for myself, like reading and like coloring, or like any little thing that I can find within my time. It's just so rewarding.
Right.
But you have to get through it. And it
Yeah.
wasn't easy. It's painful.
Do you feel like the court system works?
Yes.
Even with having to go back for all the contempts, all the enforcement actions, everything, do you feel like the system works?
Yes. I think the system works. I think it worked in my favor, but I don't know how honest people. I feel like you have to be honest. I think you have to come to terms with, again, just because it's not fair doesn't mean you're going to get anything out of it. I think that it all worked out for me and my family.
Yeah, and I do think that's a direct result of you being honest and you being willing to hear some hard truths, because what you thought may happen in the beginning of your case is not where you were at the end of it.
No, I had no idea that the process was gonna. I mean, I knew that it was gonna be a fight,
Right.
but I didn't know
what the fight was going to be about.
No, no.
Yeah. What would you tell someone who's exactly where you were at when this started?
I would just leave. I don't know how you're gonna do it. I know people have different circumstances. Some people don't have a job, and find a way because they're not gonna change. Whatever a man does to you, or a woman, whatever someone does to you is a reflection of themselves and not you. Do not believe the things that people say about you in a relationship. Get out, because it doesn't get better. It doesn't. They don't stop cheating. They don't stop lying. It just keeps getting worse. So please find a way to leave, and it's going to hurt. You're going to feel like you can't do it. You're not going to be able to make it, but you will. You will, because I did. And I have a special needs son, and I don't have family support, and I don't have, I mean, I do have a good career, and I am able to make money, and I know that that's not everybody's story, but God will find a way for you. You will get out. There's a way if you find it.
There is a way. There's always a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it may not be comfortable. It's not going to be easy, but there is a way to change your situation.
Yes.
You know, you're not a victim of your circumstances.
No.
You know,
No.
and if you are and you stay in there for too long, you end up turning into a volunteer.
Yes. So I was with my ex-husband for 20 years, and I am fully responsible. I don't know if I'm fully responsible. I just take it upon myself to take responsibility, because I am an adult. I can make decisions, and I chose to stay. I chose to stay knowing all that he's done, because he's cheated on me a bunch of times. He has another kid. He's now taking care of 2 kids that doesn't belong to him. He has 3 new kids with this woman, one that I found out. I mean, it's just so many flags that were there, and I just stayed. And for what? For what? For just pain. It doesn't get better. It just keeps getting worse. It does.
It does. No, it really does.
But I don't think everybody can afford an attorney. I don't think everybody can do all those things, but there's resources. Like, there's videos like that you're trying to help people with. There's ways, if you just stay organized, stay truthful, don't lie about anything, because it will come back. I never lie. I'm not a lie. I just not a liar.
Yeah.
So that worked out for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like on your end working with me?
Oh, I love working with you. I mean, honestly, a lot of stuff that Sarah told me.
So
yes. No, I am. A lot of the stuff Sarah said to me, I did not like. Like, one time I texted her and I was like, I think I should get $1,000. And she was like, $1,000. And I'm like, I think this lady doesn't realize how crazy this man is yet. And she's just like, very honest, but like, I'm like, hello. But I understand now, it was because it's the law. And she'd be like, I understand that that's messed up, but that we can't do anything about that. I think Sarah was very honest, shut me up a lot of times, like a lot of this, a lot of like, you're just like, she's just very like, I would be like, can you believe he did this to me? And she would be like, shocker. And I'd be like, yeah, that's true. Like, a lot.
I can't believe that you can't believe.
Yes, yes. So I appreciate that, though. I don't want anybody lying to me. I don't want anybody just telling me what I want to hear. And you were very honest, and you like fought for my kids, fought more, like did a lot for me, and I can never thank you enough. I felt like very comfortable talking to you, and you understood. Like, some people don't have emotional intelligence, and no matter how intelligent or how much education they have, but you always understood everything. Yeah. That was nice,
I think the biggest thing that I try to do for my clients is, be like a stable, point of focus in your case.
Yes.
Like, if you don't see me freaking out, you shouldn't be freaking out.
Yeah, you told me that so many times.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not worried about it, so calm down.
I'm not worried about it. Yeah. And there were plenty of times, like you said, like we would be in court and he would start lying because he was talking.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, Sarah,
yeah.
Don't say anything. I know he's lying. And that's always the biggest thing that I tell people, especially before we go into court. Like, if I'm in the middle of trying, because I'm trying to put on, I'm Geppetto, I'm trying to put on a puppet show and show the court something that's going on, and I have all these rules and guidelines and procedures that I have to follow. I've got 800 tracks running in my head. I don't need you leaning over to me being like, he's lying. I know he's lying because he's talking. I know that. Either he's lying or you're lying, and I'm gonna find out real quick. But unless you want to tell me something while we're in the middle of court, write down on a piece of paper why he's lying and why you know he's lying and how I can prove it.
Hmm.
You just saying he's lying or that didn't happen. Okay, thank you.
One time he even looked at me because he said something I don't remember, and you were like, and I was like, and you believed me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I forgot what it was, but you were like, and I said, mm. But
yeah.
every other time you just didn't even look at me. You
I
just
didn't need
knew.
to. Yeah, I already. That's the thing too, though. When you have a good working relationship with your attorney, I already knew everything going into it.
Hmm.
I didn't. Nothing really caught me off guard. My look to you was more like this guy, like
Yes, yes.
this guy, get a load of this guy. And so that allows me to be able to jump on stuff a lot more quickly, and I don't have to sit there and oh, I'm sure she said this somewhere and go through all this paperwork. Like I already knew everything. Like we had already prepped. Like we had already talked about all this stuff in advance, so it was really easy to go in and just immediately be like, well, I know that you're lying because here's my proof. Like I already have it, and I'm not
Yes.
worried about it.
Hmm.
So I think that that's like your attorney's not your enemy, but your attorney is also
Not your friend?
not, not well. Now we're friends.
Yes, yes, yes.
But that is one thing too, though. Like your attorney is not your friend. Like you venting to them is just wasting your money.
Money.
And a therapist is cheaper. Your best friend is cheaper than typing out this long drawn out email about how terrible they are. If they weren't terrible, you wouldn't be in divorce court. Period. I don't need you to tell me how terrible they are. I already know that. You wouldn't have hired me, you
Right,
know?
right.
So if you're going to email your attorney, like make it succinct, like make it relevant to your case, make sure that it's something that is necessary. And if you're not sure, ask. That's the one thing that a lot of people don't do either. They don't ask, hey, is this relevant? They just get sidetracked and they focus on it. And then they just turn it into 12 to 15 emails about this one thing, even
Yeah.
though, like, hey, does it matter that, my ex is talking shit?
Hmm.
No, it doesn't matter.
Matter.
It doesn't matter unless they're talking about it right in front of your kids. They're being mean to you in your text. Yeah, I don't care. You shouldn't care either.
I did that. I sent her Sarah a whole bunch of screenshots, and it's like, well, I learned quick though. She's like, yeah, this is messed up, but I can't do anything with
Yeah.
this.
It doesn't have anything to do with your kids. It doesn't have anything to do with
Yes.
your case. So just like, I guess the one thing I'd want people to take away from this is like, you need to be willing to change your perspective
Yeah.
when coming into a divorce or custody case.
Yes.
If you are not willing to change your perspective, you are going to hit a lot of roadblocks.
Oh yeah.
And you are going to not have a good time. It's already not a good time. You're going to have a worse time.
Yeah. You don't
For
call the
sure.
shots. You don't
Right.
call the shots. You do not have control, which is why you hire an attorney
Right.
to help you. But you have to be honest, and you have to follow. You have to just listen to them.
You have to be able to take what's said by your attorney and really absorb it
Yeah.
and see how you can apply that.
Yes. And it's not easy.
No. What do you want from your perspective as someone who's been through a divorce, someone who hired an attorney, someone who had to continue to deal with the system long after your divorce is finalized? Like, what do you want people to know about the process?
I would say honestly, the process is going to be the process. It's long. It's long, and it's okay that somebody else is lying as long as you know you're telling the truth. I just have to focus on your life. At some point, you have to let it go, and you
Yeah.
have to say, because it's the same thing. It's the same thing over and over again. But regardless of how long you're going to be fighting this person, live your life. Live your life for your kids. It's like Sarah always told me, like, does this affect your kids? Like, I was forgetting about the kids. I was just focused on getting him, you know? I mean, obviously I cared about my kids, but that wasn't my focus. My focus was like, I'm going to make him pay for what he's done to me, you know? And you have to refocus and say, okay, I'll worry about that when that gets here. But like, you have to I have to find a way to pay for this and pay for that and just keep living and living a fulfilled life
Yeah.
because it might never end.
Right. Right. You have to find a way to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And me talking about this is not like I'm happy that Willie Mae's with Ryan. She saved me. But at the same time, this is my truth. And a lot of people might be struggling with parent alienation, with finances, with a disabled child, a special needs child, a lack of support. Not everything is the way it looks, you know? Like people might look at me and they might think, oh, I have my stuff together or not. But like, this is my raw truth. This was hell. Okay. And I made it to the other side. And it was hell. It was so emotionally painful. Like it literally felt like, even though I made the decision that I had to leave, I felt like there was just this knife. I'm big on loyalty, even though I stayed with someone that betrayed me a million times. But that's besides the point. It just broke me. And now I'm just repairing myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not dating because I'm not healed. And I don't want to to each his own. I'm not ready to have people in my children's lives. Personally, I'm too stupid, like I'll just fall in love with somebody just because of dumb shit. So I have to really focus on what is it that I want for myself. What do I even know about myself? I don't even know shit about myself because I've just been living for my kids and my ex-husband. So I don't know if that answered your question because I'm always sidetracked.
No, it does. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
And it can be as bright as you want it to be.
Yes.
There are still truths that regarding the help you're not getting.
Yes.
That you're sort of kind of now getting. Third time's a charm, maybe.
Yes, maybe.
Don't want to jinx it. No. But you can move past this in a way that is not you continuing to live in the past while everybody else moves forward. Mm-hmm. There is a way out. There is a way for you to be able to find out who you're going to be on the other side of this life event. Yep. But how you see the situation, how you see your side is, again, it's all about perspective. And if you move forward with the perspective of how dare this happen to me, instead of, okay, like, what is my life going to look like now moving forward, you are probably going to be miserable.
Yeah, I was miserable for a long time because that was my focus. Yeah. Why is this being done to me? How could this happen to me? How could he do this to my special needs son? How could this? I was in it. I would talk about it every day. I have great friends because they didn't heard this story. You heard it. Everybody heard it. But at some point, you have to move on and enjoy your life.
It's not bringing you any joy.
No.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's good. Like, I'm glad that you caught on real quick, but you really have moved past all of this, and you're doing so much better, and getting into this new routine. And although you're reading Kingdom of Ash,
that's why we're friends.
I've already almost done my first Crescent City book. Like, I need you to. The only thing I'm asking of you, not as your lawyer, but as your friend, like, if you could just hurry up and finish
I'm hurrying.
Yeah.
That's why we're friends, because we like fairy books.
Because we like fairy books. That's why. That's the only reason.
See, this is the humor I love.
So, all right. So just to confirm, you are not here against your will.
No.
Everything you said was, you wanted to be here.
I want to be here. She didn't hold me to it.
Yeah.
Free will.
Free will.
Yeah.
Free will.
Yeah.
You have free will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Align it the right way. Sure. You have free will, but you need to align it the right way, right?
Shit, but yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you
for sharing
your story. Thank you for, giving little client-sided tips. And I think it's really important for people to see, how raw and vulnerable you can be and how messed up a situation can be, but you can land, like, on the other side and still be happy and full of joy,
Yes.
That was something, even when you were, like, pissed off, like, you still were joyful,
You think so?
Yes.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It means a lot. Yeah.
So thank you all for watching.
Yes, learn from me and Sarah. Don't be a dumb bitch.
I'm gonna cut that out.
Oh my God.
But if you want to hear more, or if you have any questions, please don't forget to subscribe, follow. You can leave any comments you can have any questions. You can leave them in the comments below. Thanks for being with us.